What's up? What's up? Earl Skockle in the house. Sorry I'm late. I was dealing with credit card fraud. No fun. No fun. But I'm here. Got about 7 Bloodsport. We're gonna just get right into it. So here's how we're gonna do it. We'll just put on Bloodsport, which I taped. So I'm hitting play right now. The MGM Lion is. Yeah, sorry about it. Canon Films is on my television screen just to give you an idea where we're at. I was trying to link up my AdSense account to YouTube, and then I went on my Citibank just to check out the charges. And I noticed I had all these charges from Chick-fil-A, like for $50 to $100, and I don't think I'd ever spent more than $20 at Chick-fil-A. So it's a pain in the ass for the last 2 hours. I've been on the phone with Citibank. Who's Lisa Curry? Ross. Please let me know. It's always nice to have a fan. There's the great Bolo Young. Now they're going through some of the fighters. Okay, there's so many LA comics, Ross. I don't know them all. But that's okay. They probably don't know me. Now, this is a right now on screen, they're just going through all the fighters, getting ready for the Kumite. Now, this is a controversial movie, to be honest with you, because it's based on Frank Dukes, and a lot of people think he's full of shit. So, who knows how truthful this movie really is. Frank Dukes is kind of in that Steven Seagal mode of you don't know what is true and what isn't. Kind of a big year for Merry Christmas, St. Ranger. Sorry I'm late. To be honest with you, I spent the last 2 hours on the phone with Citibank dealing with bank fraud and also trying to figure out how to link my YouTube account to my AdSense because I've hit the thresholds, but now I can't figure out how to, I guess, link the account so I can start getting my super chats. But we'll see what happens. This is a big year for Van Damme because I think he shot this movie right after he kind of failed as the Predator. He was the original Predator. So, I'm sure he was disappointed, but then he made Bloodsport, and he had a nice run, to be honest with you. So if there's anyone in the chat that knows how to link your YouTube and AdSense, let me know. He had a good run. He had Bloodsport. What was it? Double Take, Lionheart. I like Lionheart, but I'm not sure what happened after his initial run. He just kind of faded into B movies.
He's resting now. He'll be so happy to see you.
So good to be here.
That's the word on the street. Merry Christmas to everyone. Pew, pew. You guys are a good crew. Thank you for the love. Now, I'm a Steeler man, so if the Steelers aren't playing, I mean, I watch football, but I'm so into trying to build up this YouTube page that the last couple days I've been concentrating on the business of stand-up comedy. I had a good set last night at the Comedy Store, main room. Steelers played a good game yesterday. They finally gave Mason Rudolph an opportunity. And yes, I did hear about Chuck Zito beating up Van Damme. Sounds believable. Although, who knows if everything Chuck Zito has said is true, to be frank. And I realize that Melton is going on at like 15 minutes, but, I'm not trying to interlope his listeners, but, at some point, it's Sunday night at 9 o'clock. I got to go on at some point. So I hope everyone has a good Christmas. We are now at the point of Bloodsport where Jean-Claude Van Damme has a child, tries to steal the knife of the old Asian guy. You can't go wrong with Canon Films. Let's see. Bloodsport was shot entirely on location in Hong Kong. I like the soundtrack. Very 80s, late 80s. Not quite 80s metal, but pretty good. So, kind of low budget movie. So, well, that's quite a lot, Saint Ranger. Let's see. I mean, well, Bloodsport did so well because it had a U.S. box office growth of almost $12 million on a budget of 2.3. And it made, I think, overall 15 in the U.S. and about 50 worldwide. So a very, very profitable film for Canon Films. I mean, Canon Films were feast or famine. A lot of the Chuck Norris movies did very well. And then some of them didn't. My favorite movie of Canon is 52 Pickup. It didn't do very well. It might have eked a small profit. But, Bloodsport was really kind of the first movie to showcase UFC type fighting. Different disciplines, karate, brawlers. I mean, the Donald Gibb role was, I wouldn't hesitate to say that maybe it had a little bit of a Tank Abbott influence. But, and it also spawned a couple sequels and a lot of rip-off movies. Um, so
You have so much to teach.
I think overall it was a pretty influential movie in the martial arts film. Well, I don't think Kareem Abdul-Jabbar will be fighting anyone. I think he has a broken hip. What up, William Zoom? We're just watching a little Bloodsport, but feel free to talk about anything. Pretty good movie. Every now and then I like to watch it. I hope everyone has a good Christmas. Let me just check my internet. My internet is at full capacity right now, so I hope it's coming in loud and proud for you guys. And thank you guys. I've Showdown in Little Tokyo, very good movie with Dolph Lundgren and Brandon Lee.
I can do
Lois is in the building. She's right there. She's sleeping right now. She sleeps a lot, but she's doing good, and I'm happy to have her back. It's a lonely life of a stand-up comic. You ever see The Wildlife? I love The Wildlife. One of my favorite. Thank you, Grammerson Payne. The Wildlife, one of my favorite movies, and The Predator is actually in it. He plays the strip club bouncer. So if you want to see what Kevin Peter Hall looks like sans Predator makeup, when they go to the strip club, he tells Angel Salazar, Comedy Store paid regular Angel Salazar, "Don't touch the girls," and slaps him on the face. And the great Hart Bachner was in The Wildlife. Of course, many fans know him from Die Hard, where he played the conniving Ellis. Yeah, I mean, Invasion USA. Yeah, yes, that is the first time I ever went to the Comedy Store. Was a Friday night main room show, and Angel Salazar walked out. I'm like, oh my God, that's the guy from The Wildlife. So I started yelling, "I got Visa, I got Master Charge," and at first he thought I was heckling him, but then he realized I was a fan. So, I'm not sure why that movie didn't do better. Great cast. When you look at the cast, it had Chris Penn, Leah Thompson, Eric Stoltz, Robert Ridgely, the Colonel from Boogie Nights, Angel Salazar. Yes, he was in Scarface. He was Chi-Chi in Scarface. Who else was? Lee Ving, from the band Fear. Ron Wood from the Rolling Stones had a cameo in it. And Jenny Wright, Inappropriate Earl podcast alumni. Jenny Wright, Rick Moranis. It's kind of a loose sequel to Fast Times at Ridgemont High. It was basically the same, with Chris Penn playing a Spicoli-like character. Boy, you really are a fan of that movie. I've never met anyone I could have an intelligent discussion with about The Wildlife. And Elon Mitchell Smith was in it. I think that was 2 years before Weird Science. Really good movie. I don't know why it didn't take off like Fast Times did. Randy Quaid was in it. Great soundtrack. Kind of an interesting soundtrack because Van Halen did the whole soundtrack. It's mainly just instrumentals, and most of the songs ended up. I believe, in some capacity on the first Hagar album. Um, and I love and it's on YouTube if you look up Wildlife closing credits theme. It's a great, let me see I don't think it's called Donut City. I don't want to get flagged. I'd play a little bit of it, but let me see here. I think I can play like 10 seconds. Wildlife end credits. I'm gonna pause Bloodsport for a second. So I think I can play 10 seconds here. All right, so here's the song I'm talking about. 3, 2, 1, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah. Someone put up I think 15 snippets, and yeah, I mean the movie, it had all the earmarks of a hit, I guess you'd say, but it just didn't. What's up, Dave? It just didn't. I don't know. It's when you look back at that time frame and the movies that were doing well, were all kind of teen romp movies. It was a very formulaic. Uh, you had starting with Porky's. Even Porky's 2 was kind of a big hit. Mischief, um, Risky Business, Fast Times, um, Private School with Matthew Modine. Uh, all these movies, did fairly well, and The Wildlife probably had the best cast of any of them outside of maybe Fast Times, and it just didn't do well. And I remember it was on TV a lot. I remember seeing the commercials. Um, and the funniest part is probably the most powerful guy from that movie is I know AC/DC 5150, you will remember this scene when Chris Penn goes into the liquor store and the guy behind the counter is like, "Didn't you used to date Mary Mosley? Boy, was she a hose beast." And he goes, "That's my sister." That guy ended up a huge director, Dean Devlin. He was in Real Genius with Val Kilmer, I wouldn't say he quit acting, but I think he directed Godzilla and stuff like that. Did you work on the movie AC/DC? You seem like maybe even more than I do. And Ann Wilson from Heart had a cameo as Hart Bachner's wife. A very quick scene when I think Leah Thompson goes to his house to say hello, and then she answers the door. And she was also in Fast Times. She was in the Corvette in Fast Times. Uh, so I mean, I love that movie so much, and the bad guy from Valley Girl, Michael Bowen, was in it. I mean, that's a great cast. And boy, did I see what was Michael Bowen in recently that I saw where he looked pretty rough. I think an early season of Animal Kingdom. Um, he he definitely didn't age very well. He was a good-looking guy. So, Merry Christmas, Dottie Three Ribs. We're just talking about the '80s, mid '80s classic movie, The Wildlife. Of course, that's what I love about my streams. We started off watching Bloodsport. Now we're not even watching it. I just put it on pause. Um, and we just break off into chat. I'd like to thank everyone in chat for helping me reach my goals, my Snapchat hours. But now I can't figure out how to sign on to AdSense. It's very difficult, to be honest with you. I don't, yeah. I mean, my streams are the initial subject is, just a starting point. How come you Christmas him but not me? I'm not sure what that means. Good evening, Spurred. We got some regulars in the house. Um, I love this period of Bloodsport. I mean, I'll put it back on. We're at the part of the movie where 15 minutes in, where Van Damme is being stretched out with the ropes. I mean, it's kind of a rip-off of the Karate Kid now that watching it right now. Some some real piazza stuff going on here. Older Asian man coaching a young kid. I mean, it never really hit me what this is a direct rip-off of Karate Kid. But Canon Films can do no wrong in my eyes. Uh, Maybe, well, my fan base is primarily male, I think, Dottie, but we can reach a compromise. I've also taped Rocky. I think everyone loves Rocky. I've also let me see, Hoosiers, the great Gene Hackman movie. I'll see if I can squeeze in a chick flick for you. I don't mind doing that. I like to appease all my fans. I mean, Rocky, everyone likes Rocky. Hoosiers might not be the best movie to do a live stream to, but I love anything Gene Hackman, um, who I believe is 93 years old. He retired from acting a while ago, but I hope that's. I mean, I don't know. I'd kind of like to see him in one more movie, but having worked on movie sets a fair amount, I'm sure a 93-year-old man doesn't want to be working 16-hour days. So I get it. I mean, he really did. I mean, when you think about the genius of Stallone, like Rambo, Rocky, and the Expendable franchise has done quite well. Although I didn't even see the last one; it was in and out of theaters so bad or so fast. Um, and the cast was, like I thought they should have done maybe one more Expendables movie, but get everyone in it. Carl Weathers, Steven Seagal. Um, maybe throw Bill Duke a cameo. Just an homage to Predator. Um, who else could you have in it? Jeff Speakman. Get Al Leong. The Asian guy who was in like every. He was Endo and Lethal Weapon. Excuse me. Um, and just blow it out for one last Expendables movie. But I think I read somewhere that Stallone and Carl Weathers had a bit of a falling out, which is kind of a bummer. But what can you do? Not everyone can get along. Um, but just as a fan, I would love to see them, do a movie together. Um, but it's probably getting a little late for that. But who knows? Yeah, Endo. He was Al Leong. It's Leong, Leong, and he was also in Die Hard. He stole the Kit Kat bar when he was setting up to guard the back door of the Nakatomi Plaza. I mean, I've seen him in so many movies. I think he was in Lionheart with Van Damme. He had a very good fight scene with Van Damme in that. Um, just the go-to, um, like Asian dude. You always needed at least one Asian dude. Um, so, and I think he's still alive. Let me see if he's still alive. I'm a one-man army, so let me be unprofessional and go on my iPad. He's still alive. I mean, he let's see what, I mean, my God, the last thing he was in 2014, so he's probably retired. Let me see. Big Trouble in Little China, Running Scared, Lethal Weapon, Action Jackson, Die Hard, They Live, Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, Cage with Lou Ferrigno and Red Brown. Death Warrant was the movie he was in with Van Damme. Last Action Hero, Beverly Hills Cop 3. I mean, Escape from LA, Godzilla, um, Lethal Weapon 4, um, Scorpion King, television. He's been in. He was in an episode. He was in the first season of 24. So I mean, he's had a nice run, and I'm just skipping. I mean, let's see if that Godzilla from '98 was the movie with Dean Devlin. So we can get some crosstalk in here. I believe. See, I'm trying to. I don't know if this was. Oh, yes, it was. So some wildlife crossover with Al Leong and Dean Devlin. Um, so he'd be a fun guy to have on if I ever brought back Inappropriate Earl. What movies have I been in? Really, only one, to be honest with you. I was in the movie Benchwarmers, the baseball movie with Benchwarmers with Rob Schneider. If you look up my newest YouTube short, I do a quick joke about it. Is something Wong or I don't think they are in Bloodsport, ACDC, as far as I know. Um, but I don't know the whole cast, to be completely honest with you. But so Al Leong, hey, looks pretty good for his age. I mean, he's born 1952, so was it 72 years old? He could probably still act. And I think he has an Instagram. No, it's another Al Leong. I mean, that is kind of a common name, I guess. Um, but that's anytime you can do a YouTube stream and talk about Al Leong. Forrest Whitaker, he was in Bloodsport. Yes. Well, let me put Bloodsport back on here. We are 18 minutes into the film. Notre Dame High's own Donald Gibb just got on the bus with Van Damme. I think me and well, I'm not the most famous person to go to Notre Dame High. I would say that honor would probably go to Remy Malik, and I believe Stephen Perkins from Jane's Addiction. Who else went to Notre Dame? Some baseball player. Jack McDowell, six-pack Jack McDowell. Went to Notre Dame High, and another one, Stanton. Justin Fargas, the running back on the Raiders, whose dad was Antonio Fargas, Huggy Bear. So a fair amount of famous people went to Notre Dame High. I'm probably in the top 10. You know, was he? Yes, he was. He was also good in The Shield. And I believe, was he in that? No, I thought he was in Sons of Anarchy. I don't think so. Yes, Huggy Bear, Antonio Fargas. His son, Justin Fargas, went to Notre Dame High. I believe a couple years after I graduated, and ended up playing for the Raiders, and I think maybe one other team. I'm not quite sure. It's hard to keep up with all these people from my past. Yeah, I like the little brother. Of what was Forrest Whitaker's name in Fast Times? Jefferson. I like Jefferson's little brother. That guy was funny. I think it was the only film he ever did, which is weird. You know, you think, wow, this guy was in the scene with Sean Penn, held his own, and I mean, I don't really rub elbows with too many famous people, to be honest with you. I mean, you see this month's Playboy, no, who was in it? Of course, my all-time favorite playmate is Petra Verkijk.
Yes.
Look up her name. Petra Verkijk. Verkaik.
Mr. Tomato is so good.
So,
And came here to pay his respects.
Forrest Whitaker is now on screen.
I don't know.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Bo Derek, nice tits. The Great Santini. Wait, was Forrest Whitaker in The Great Santini, or was that the other go-to black guy, Frank? Hold on, let me. I don't think that was The Great Santini. I don't think that was Forrest Whitaker. That was Stan Shaw. I hate that scene. I think the scene you're referencing is when all the white guys, I guess they were racist guys, go to beat him up, and he lets all the dogs out and they kill the white guys. Stan Shaw. He probably got all the roles Forrest Whitaker didn't. Like, I could see those guys going up for the same parts. Yeah. No. You're thinking it is The Great Santini, but it's Stan Shaw. I always cry during that scene. Damon Wilson, his kid went to my grade school at the same time. I would always see him picking up his child. I went to Good Shepherd Catholic School, Beverly Hills Catholic School. Yeah, that was a rough scene because in the movie Stan Shaw, I think he stuttered, so he was really an empathetic character. Yeah, Steve James. You know, I've always wondered, if Steve James was. Now I don't care if he was gay or not, but the way he died, I think in 1991. Let's see here. And it was kind of on the DL, like pancreatic cancer, which I mean, I don't know. Let's see what yeah, pancreatic cancer, 41 years old, man. He was absolutely, I would say, the top three black actors, like character actors. I don't think they would ever get leads, but were, well, I mean, well, Forrest Whitaker didn't get leads back then. were Forrest Whitaker, Stan Shaw, and Steve James. But Steve James was more of an action movie guy, where Stan Shaw got in. He was also in the TV movie. Um, sorry about that. The Billionaire Boys Club, which ironically I kind of have a link to because I used to play tackle football um, Saturday mornings in Coldwater Canyon Park, and it was a wild group of dudes. Just a wild group. It was William Margold, the porn star, a lot of like B and C level actors. And yes, she does. Petra does. And Joe Hunt, the actual guy from the Billionaire Boys Club, would play football with us. And the TV movie with, I believe, Judd Nelson, Stan Shaw played the bodyguard. So, you know, there's a little bit of information none of you probably had before this stream started. Yeah, Petra Verkijk, it still looks good. I mean, she's put on some weight, but she's got to be in her 50s, maybe, or late 40s. So, oh yeah, I mean, well, I got to find out how to, like, yeah, the Warriors with super chats would be cool. And I don't want to milk my fans, but I still haven't figured out how to um, sign on to AdSense. It says I get through let me see what it says here. I took a picture of it. I mean, I can't believe it's this fucking difficult, to be honest with you. Let's see here. So, there's three ways to sign on. Step one, you review the base terms. Step two, you set up Google AdSense, which I did, but it keeps saying your associated AdSense account is missing required payment details, so we're unable to monetize your channel. But I've done everything correctly. So, I'm just looking for a little bit of Dabbleverse adjacent super chat money. I mean, Kevin Brennan would know how to. God knows he loves super chats. Well, I mean, it is a great way. Oh, thank you, Mr. Bauer. Appreciate that. Happy Dudikoff playing the same character Chuck Norris played in Invasion USA. Michael Dudikoff was. Well, no, they were. Oh, right, right. I thought you were talking. Michael Dudikoff was also in Uncommon Valor, but apparently his scene got cut out because he's listed in the main credits. So I would love to see like the Uncommon Valor with deleted scenes. When can we do memberships? I don't know, to be honest with you, Dottie. I'm trying to figure out how to do this. I'm not sure what I'm doing wrong. I might have to call Melton and see how to navigate. I've done everything right. Yes, I mean, hit the like button. It is free to do that. And I promise you guys, when I do, and I don't know why they make it so difficult. Like, I thought it would literally take me like 2 minutes. But I'm just not sure. Um, it shouldn't be that difficult. I mean, my AdSense is set up. I'm not sure. It's kind of a bummer because I'm leaving money on the table. Because I think it takes like a month for them to approve you and review you. Oh yeah, Adam would be a good person. Um, I mean, I might have to trust someone with my banking account information, to be honest with you, and that's absolutely scary. But we'll figure it out. Um, but I would ask Kevin. I have no shame. You know, they have it, William. Like I've given it to them. Like I don't want to bore you guys with trying to log into you know, my AdSense account, but that's the frustrating thing is I think I've done everything correctly. So yes. Well, I'd have to trust someone with my yeah. Uh, you might be right on that ACDC. It's hard to find honest people in this world, but I do trust Adam. That is for sure. Actually, I think I'll email him right now. Why not? There was no time like the present. So it's been a rough night. I've tried the videos, and the problem is there's not really an updated one because when I look at the screen, it it says something different than what's on my screen. So yeah, I mean, I don't. I mean, I've just been on the phone with Citibank for the last 2 hours because I had like 7 charges from the Chick-fil-A app, which I've never used before. Um, so that means probably some kid I ordered Chick-fil-A from, uh, I don't know, somehow got my credit card number. It was weird. It was just random um, charges on my account. So because I couldn't figure out AdSense, I went on my Citibank uh, account, and I'm glad I couldn't figure it out because I never would have known. So it sucks, man. You feel like you've been like sexually assaulted. I'll never know who fucked me over, but I will never eat a Chick-fil-A again. I'll tell you that much. Because it's just a pain in the ass. Like now I had to close out my credit card, and you might be onto something, ACDC. And then so like for the next 2 days, and the banks are closed because it's Christmas. So till Tuesday, I've got to live on the $60 cash I have. Oh yeah, I mean, I guess. Yeah, no, I mean, I'll never order from Chick-fil-A again. I mean, you almost have to, St. Ranger. I mean, I have one credit card. That's the shitty thing. It's like, and I've had very few credit card fraud cases, but you know, yeah, I mean, who knows where it happened? I mean, I've gone to Chick-fil-A maybe in the last 6 months, 2 or 3 times. And I never really trusted their fucking when you go to Chick-fil-A, they hand you, like, these kinda wonky credit card machines, so it kinda checks out that, they're ripe for scamming. I mean, I know well, but how do you know they're skimmers at the credit card, station? Like, I mean, I've been told if you put your credit card into the slot at the gas, station and there's, like, almost feels like it gets stuck that's a skimmer being used, but, I mean, it just sucks that for honest people, they have to do this because now I mean, I can survive 2 days, but it's just a pain in the ass, I mean, because I rarely carry cash anymore. Yeah, I mean, now I don't wanna turn into that guy who like, I was on eBay for a long time. I think I had, like, a score like 500 positive, feedback score of over 500 and, not one negative, review or whatever, and then one day I was on the set of I'm Dying Up Here, I get a notification that I bought 5 computers, and, I got the money back and everything, but I canceled my eBay account, um, so yeah, that's why, William, like, when I'm at a gas station, there are times when I've stuck it in the slot and it kinda sticks, and I look around to see if I see anyone with a skimmer, but, I mean, I think with every year that we live, there's gonna be more, um, ways to do stuff like that. I mean, I just bought a KISS shirt on eBay. The funny thing is it was like $250 because it was a KISS from their last show in New York, and which is about a fair price given, it was you had to be at the show to get the shirt. Um, but then literally the next day, um, Kiss put the shirt on their website for $50. So, there you go. So for once, Kiss was cheaper than the people on eBay. Um, so there you go. But yeah, it just sucks because I was proud of my eBay feedback. Because and I didn't I sold well, I guess I sold some hockey jerseys, but I was pretty much buying, memorabilia and stuff like that. So how good of a friends how great of friends am I with Jim Norton? Kiss does rule though. I mean, we're friends, comedy friends. I think the last time I saw Jem was when I did Kill Tony many, many, many moons ago. He's a New York guy. I'm an LA guy, so it's just kind of one of those things that, um, you know, yeah, yeah, he's a big Kiss fan for sure. I went to the Kiss show at the Hollywood Bowl, and then when they went to New York, I had my friend, well, I'll just call him the A Man. He picked me up 2 shirts that you had to be at the concert for. They only sold them at the show. And then they had all throughout New York City Kiss pop-up shops where they sold shirts that weren't even at the concert. So the shirt I bought for 250 was from the pop-up shop, and then Kiss put it on their um, website for $50. So I guess patience is a virtue. No, I don't think the Kiss hologram thing is a joke at all, sadly. I mean, I probably would go to the first show, the hologram show, but that's about it. Thank you, Ben Jones. Happy, oh, it is Christmas for Ben Jones in Australia. Uh, yeah, that sucks, William. Um, yeah, I mean, it's funny. That's the episode Tony kicked me under the table because it was me, Jim Norton, and Sam Roberts, and Ali McCoskey was on, and she was talking about 2 comics taking her to Tijuana, and I just threw out, "Oh, was it Dalia and Brian Callen?" And Tony was like, "Well, there goes those 2 guests." So, but look how right I was. Thank you very much. I'm a real soothsayer, but, you know, that's the last time I've been in a room with Jim. Tony well, I did the Comedy Store podcast with Sam. Comedy Store Wrestling podcast. Rest in peace. Um, but I haven't seen Jim since. I think he just got married. So, yeah, I used to really love eBay, William. But then once I got ripped off, I'm like, I don't want to go to bed every night thinking, am I going to get ripped off again? Because it was a weird thing where it was like 5 Hewlett Packard computers. And after a couple weeks of like filing dispute and all that, I they gave me the money back, but then they were like, "Hey, we have up to a year to dispute this. So if we think you're up to something, we take the money back." So it's just like, clearly I didn't buy 5 computers. You can look at my buying history at the time. Uh, I've never once bought any electronics on eBay. It was all like shirts and whatnot. Well, thank you, Dave. It was fun, but to be brutally honest with you, we just didn't get the numbers. Um, I'm not sure why, to be honest. Yes, it's 9:40. Merry Christmas to everyone on the East Coast. Um, yeah, we just didn't. I don't know, for whatever reason, we just didn't get the numbers. So unfortunately, they didn't want to do it anymore, and I get it. Um, it's just it's unfortunate because we did put in a lot of work, me, Eddie, and John, and you know, but if the ratings aren't there, the ratings aren't there. So it's we, you know, I'm not sure why we didn't do better because I to this day I don't understand. We got big guests. I mean, for the most part, if you ever watch AEW, like um, you know, every episode there, oh, we had this guy, this girl, we had John Morrison, his wife, Taya Valkyrie, Big Bill, who's blowing up right now, RJ City, Rocky Romero, Pretty Peter Avalon, Paul London, Jacob Fatu. Uh, I mean, just a lot of great guests, but it's and the production value was great. The Comedy Store is a great podcast center, but I don't know. It's just one of those weird things that I I think Dolph Ziggler was on. He was on an episode where I wasn't there, but it's one of the great mysteries in terms of what went wrong. But I'm having fun, to be honest with you, doing my own streams. Just to be brutally honest, because I can I can make money on my own. And not that I'm in this to make money, but I like with the Comedy Store podcast, wrestling podcast, I was making there was no money making alternatives. Um, so at least with this, I could see I could make a few extra bucks. Um, so it was, there's like a light at the end of the tunnel doing my own stream. And I really want to build up my YouTube channel, with content and, I got to get my ass in gear with, building up my brand. 55, I ain't getting any younger. So, but it was a good run. And Eddie, I think, does his own podcast or whatever. And John's got a great new job. He can't say what, but because it hasn't been announced yet. But we're all still friends and whatnot. But I do wish it did better. Unfortunately, it didn't. So, um, I'll probably spend the rest of the night trying to figure out how to register my YouTube account with AdSense. Yeah, but it worked, Dave. Um, because you wouldn't want just three people who like AEW and then you just agree on everything. This is a Aviator Nation. I think it says something on the back. I wear the brand Aviator Nation. Let's say, I guess you'd say a luxury, like a beach hippy dippy company, and I think they do a lot of promotional collaborations. And I went to the Aviator Nation store in Venice, and they had all these one-off hoodies for sale. Like they did a collaboration with Animal Kingdom, the TV show, and they had this particular one. And obviously, it's a golf. I guess they did a golf tournament collab, and it's great. It's very warm and fuzzy. So yeah, that's how I got it. So the Cars, Pam, I am the Cars. What is that referencing? The band, the Cars, or I'm not sure. Of course, I encourage crosstalk in the chat, but I thought you played hockey with someone from Waste Management. I don't remember. I probably have, because that's why I still played hockey. It was the only non-comedy thing I did, and I just loved that. I was around people like who worked at Walmart and Sam's Club and were, like waiters in restaurants, but they weren't actors. They were just literally waiters in their family restaurants. So, okay. See, I don't know any of them, William. Well, there was that documentary on Netflix about the Danbury Trashers, who were owned by the waste management guy from the mob. It's a great documentary. I went to a game up there once because he hired his 18-year-old son as the GM. So the son just, excuse me, wanted tough guys. And so I remember my friend, it's a long story, but I'll quicken it up just to like. So one time I'm doing a comedy show at this place in San Diego called Moondoggies. And it was like a wild college bar. And I'm not going to lie to you, I was bombing my ass off, dead silent, and probably a couple hundred people in the room. But there's one table laughing hysterically at all my hockey jokes. And I couldn't quite get it. So I get off stage and I felt bad. Nothing is worse. I'd rather come early than bomb. And I um, walk by the table and they're like, "Hey man, you're our favorite one." I'm like, "Okay, why are you guys laughing at the hockey stuff?" And they're like, "Oh, we're the San Diego Gulls. We just won the Turner Cup or the Taylor Cup." And there was a couple other guys from other teams with them, and there was this huge guy named Charlie Elise, big Arab guy, which is rare. There's not many Arab hockey players. So I became friends with Charlie, and he started playing on the Elmira Jackals, and they were playing the Danbury Thrashers. And he said, "Hey, come up. This game's going to be wild. The Trashers. Um, they're flying in Frankie Bialowas to fight me, and they also have Ruben Nadur, who was like this Nigerian-born hockey player. I promise you, it's going to be worth your while." So I fly all the way to New York, get to Connecticut with my friends, and the Danbury Thrashers, their home arena was a practice rink basically, so it was really small, and so just a couple hundred people, and it was sold out. And so I stood by the penalty box, and you could talk to the players. It was very interactive. Like I remember two guys getting into a fight, and I'm talking to both of them, like because I'm standing in the middle of basically outside, but in the middle of the penalty box, and it was just funny. Great fights. I mean, it was wildness, and a huge brawl at the end of the game, and the 18-year-old kid comes down from wherever he was sitting, and he's like trying to fight the other player. It was craziness. So the documentary on Netflix, I forget what it was called. It was part of a series of documentaries. It wasn't like its standalone documentary, but it was really good. By the way, we've totally forgotten. Bloodsport's almost over. Van Damme beats the big Asian guy. We just covered it. Um, so, well, I mean, it is the mob, I think. So, well, you could definitely tell the equipment manager was definitely mobbed up, which is funny because there was rumors. Now, many of you, or maybe many of you know, maybe none of you know, I used to collect game worn hockey jerseys, and what happened was the equipment guys started making jerseys up that the players never wore, but he sold them as game worn of the fighters because those jerseys went for big money. Like there was a guy number 55 who I think has passed away recently, Garrett Burnett. He's a very popular fighter, and he wasn't there that long, but there was like 4 or 5 of his jerseys on in the market, which would have been impossible. He wasn't there long enough to play. So, it's not surprising that the equipment guy was running scams out of the locker room. But, this has been a fun stream, guys. Any last minute questions before I call it? I'm getting a text from my sister, so think of those questions. Um, so yeah, that was a interesting documentary for sure. And well, I'm getting another text from a anonymous. Oh my God. How do I get one of those? Ben Jones. I want one. Well, I mean, I'm trying. I thought we would watch Bloodsport, but I know like when we were watching what was the last watch along we did? Predator, like people were really into it. Like everyone's asking questions about the movie, but Bloodsport, it seemed in chat that people kind of checked out. So well, I mean, who knows? But Ben William, I'm sorry. It is pretty easy to fake. Like, let's say this is a hockey jersey. This hoodie I have on. Like, I could. Um, let me be right back. Let me show you. This is a game-used Archer's Kaliev stick. Now, the interesting thing about this is look at the handle. Now, I don't know how this looks to you guys in this, but I can barely put my hand around this. He has a lot of tape. That is about a roll of tape. Now, apparently, he played tennis as a child, so he, that explains the tape job. But let's say this was a jersey I had on, a brand new jersey. I could just go like that, literally go like that, go like that. I could take the butt end, which it's not dirty, but I could rub it like that. And before you know it, there's marks all over the shirt. So it looks like a fake jersey. So yeah, it's pretty easy to fake memorabilia, unfortunately. For a mitt. Well, yes, I do. Let me show you the Rambo knife. Very, very sharp. This could kill someone. Well, I mean, let me tell you something. That butt end of that stick, if I hit someone with it, they ain't gonna feel good. I'll tell you that much. Um, so let me turn the lights off. It's not quite the same ambiance. So there we go. It does not have a compass. If you remember the story, my friend used to be a freelance writer, so I was playing hockey with him at a time, Sunday nights at Culver City Ice Rink. It was a band of freaks. We had OJ's mailman, Rocky George from Suicidal Tendencies, the guitar player with a missing fingertip. Just the editor of Busty Beauties. I mean, a real sideshow of freaks. And my buddy was a freelance writer, and he was writing at the time for Soldier of Fortune. So he'd go on these drug runs with the DEA and some like not SEAL Team 6, but some real black bag operations. So when the riots started happening in '91, Rodney King, Reginald Denny, he comes over to my house. Now, this is the building I was living next door to Fay Ray in. So I was on the 19th floor. I was not in harm's way. Although during the George Floyd riots, they got to my neighborhood. Like it was pretty fucking scary. But we will do a Miami Vice watch along. I don't know long term. We might do the first episode. I don't. But let me finish this story, Sean. So my friend comes over with this like huge bag or box of weapons, dummy grenades, guns that fired rubber bullets, not like real guns. It's like take what you want, just in case they get to you. And I'll just take that knife, dude. I don't think they're getting. I don't think they're getting to me. I mean, I thought about what if I just started a Miami Vice podcast where each week we just watched an episode. But I find that the watch along episodes, like I was saying, Predator did pretty well. Bloodsport tonight, not really. I mean, it just seemed people kind of wanted to talk about other stuff. Maybe Rocky, but Rocky's kind of a long movie. It's like almost 2 hours. He probably did. He probably Rocky was in. Oh yeah. Oh, Rocky George. Yeah, suicidal. Well, here's the funny thing. A great guitar. Rocky George is actually the one who told me about Guns N' Roses. I remember one night on a Sunday we are getting ready, and it was just me and him getting ready for whatever reason. And he's like, "Man, we're just in the studio, and there's a band next door. They're called Guns N' Roses." And I'm like, "Oh, what's the name?" And he's like, "Well, Tracy Guns and Axl were in a band, and then Tracy Guns left, and now they have this guy named Slash, and they're going to be the next big group, dude. I'm telling you, they're going to be the next big group." And I'm like, I don't know about that, dude. You should listen to this group called Brittany Fox. And he looked at me and was like, "Get the fuck out of here." And look how right Rocky was. Good night, Dottie Three Reps. Thank you. Happy Christmas. He did. Jordan, did you get my video? Jordan the Lion. Check out Days with Jordan the Lion. And if anyone, I'll message Adam tomorrow while it's Christmas. I don't expect him to get back to me, but if anyone knows how to help me with AdSense and YouTube, I really would appreciate it. A lot of money I'm leaving on the table, baby cakes. So this has been Earl. Long Way to Love. That's a good song. Good guitar solo. And let me see. Save the Week. That was probably the song that killed him. It's just a ballad that just didn't work, but I love it. Oh, save, save the week. With a little love is all you need. Girls' school. I asked the teacher from girls' school to be on Inappropriate Earl. She's like, "I've seen your comedy. No way." I'm like, "What?" Band of the Hand with the great Stephen Lang, my Babe Ruth TV movie castmate. I remember we were on break one day and we're both just kind of looking out. We were on the fence by the third baseline. He's like, "Hey, are you an actor?" I'm like, "Not really." And I'm like, "But I know you are." Crime Story and Band of the Hand. And it was actually really cool. Yeah, that movie didn't do well. I mean, it was a TV movie, so who knows? It's hard to say a TV movie didn't do well, but I think they were in a race to beat um, the John Goodman Babe Ruth movie, and the TV movie. Mark Tinker produced it, and I was just excited about that because he produced The White Shadow. So James Remar, awesome. Aren't you that guy from The Last Boy Scout? Well, it's funny if you look. You want to see? Well, I don't know if you can see Earl, but I had a. Let me see. I was in the 38 special video "Sound of Your Voice." If you look, 1991, I played one of the video makes no sense because it's a ballad about a guy and a girl, but the guy's a football player and she's a cheerleader. But football really wasn't the best way to promote the song. But I was one of the football players. It was shot on location, Montebello College, and it was just funny because I was at that time probably 6'1", 190 and ripped. Like that was my physical prime. And I was the smallest guy. And we played tackle football. And we were in real we looked like a college football team and we were in real pads. And, I thought we were just gonna fuck around, show a guy catching a football or whatever, but we had to play tackle football. And so I was really sore. And keep in mind, I can't say this enough. I was in my physical best shape. I mean, I was a 23-year-old Earl. And well, we kind of look a little bit alike, me and Kim Coates. But so, the yell action, everyone thinks they're done. And the director goes, Skakel, and the other guy's name, I think his name was Mike. We need some more noise. I'm like, what do you mean, man? He's like, well, we need some tackling noise. So we're gonna have Mike tackle you like literally 100 times. And Mike was a big Italian dude. And so check out the 38 special video, Sound of Your Voice. I don't think you can I have Lois. She's right there. Let me see if she wants to make an appearance. You know, she's passed out, dead asleep. So check out that video and Rat and Roll, of course. Rockin' with Dawkin. Um, aren't you that guy? Sorry, I just want to make sure I'm in training for reading super chats. Now I would think since I've hit the threshold that you could still do super chats, but I just couldn't get paid until I figured out AdSense. But like, um, I like the song. It's funny. I hadn't listened to that 38 special song, "Sound of Your Voice," and probably since the day we shot the video. Um, and I watched it for some reason. I was working out the other night, and I and let me and I did. I got goosebumps because I remember like uh, some of the friends I made because I was with. Um, I mean, I lucked out because I booked my first 3 gigs I ever auditioned for, and Jordan will tell you that's fucking unheard of. It's a good song, Dave. So the first gig I got is from the Sunday night hockey thing. It wasn't a league; it was just pickup. My buddy, who looked just like Wayne Gretzky, said, "Hey, do you want to go with me tomorrow to a audition?" I'm like, not really, but I'll go. And so I go, and my buddy goes in. I think he was like the last guy. And the guy comes back, looks at me, and goes, "Do you want to audition?" I'm like, "Oh, sure." And I get in there, and they're like, "What's your hockey experience?" And I'm like, "I'm never gonna get this, so I'm gonna lie my ass off." I played for the Binghamton Rangers, and the guy was like, "Who's your coach?" I was like, "Robbie Fatorik," because I'm Rain Man with that shit. And then I got the lead in the commercial, and let's just say it was pretty apparent uh, the minute I stepped on the ice that I was not a pro hockey player. And but this was a commercial that was only going to be filmed, I think, in London, or it was only going to air in London or the UK. It was a Pepsi commercial. So we had to film that day. So they had it was too late. So they had to use me. And it worked out. And then I was so good in that. I got a United Airlines commercial where Mike Singletary, the point of the commercial is showing how travel has advanced. So I'm one of the 50s football players on the train, and then they go to Mike Singletary on like a Concorde or something. I don't and then I got the 38 special video. So I thought, this fucking business is easy. And then I literally didn't get a call back for 15 years. Um, so Jack Tatum, hello. They call me Assassin. That was like the first book I ever read. And I think Daryl Stingley's grandson is playing, I think he's on the Patriots, maybe. Uh, so yeah, I got goosebumps watching that video. Probably the funniest Hollywood story, and Jordan will back me up on this one. Um, so in the United Airlines commercial, I forget we had to go to like San Francisco in the woods, some old train station, and so we're shooting the commercial, and actually there was another comic looking back, not Don Jameson, but Don. He does stand up with a slideshow. He's an old school comic. Fuck, I forget his name. Don something. He looks like a 50s football player. Like they were going for a look like big guys and whatnot. Guys who look like they played, you know, football in the 50s. And so, at dinner, right before dinner, we all get a knock on our hotel rooms, and it's the PA giving us our per diem money. Now, for those of you not knowing what per diem money is, it's basically your lunch money. So we're at this restaurant and we're all getting our food, and the guy behind me is not eating. I'm like, "What's wrong, bro?" He's like, "Oh, I don't want to use my paycheck for the food. I'm married or whatever." I'm like, "That's not your paycheck, bro. That's the money you get every day for food." Like he thought the $38 that we got for food was his whole pay. He was a real hillbilly. All right, you kids. This has been Earl Skakel. We didn't even finish Bloodsport, but like I said, Van Damme beats the big guy in the end. Bolo Young. I once went up to Bolo Young at Gold's Gym in Venice, and I don't know if he speaks English. And I'm like, "Hey, man," and he was working. I can't believe I had the balls to do this. Probably the ballsiest thing I've ever done. I literally looked at Bolo Young. I just walked right up to him. He's working out, and I'm like, "Hey, man, I love you in Bloodsport," and he just kind of looked at me like, "Ugh." So there's that. So thank you very much. This has been Earl Skakel Sunday Night Live. I appreciate you guys watching and listening. Yeah, Bolo Young can. He was in pretty good shape from what I remember. Chong Li, board don't hit back. So I hope I don't get my channel struck for that Asian impression. Um, The Asian guy, yeah, he really well, I think they were best friends though, or something. Thank you, Ross. So, Earl Skakel over now. Jordan with peace out, Dave. Thank you guys for listening. There's a mellow chat tonight. Check out the 38 special video, The Sound of Your Voice, and look for Earl Skakel on defense. I think I was playing linebacker, but my God, there were some big boys on that. Uh, on the field that day. But thank you guys. Um, and I love you all. I appreciate you guys helping me get to my super chat and super sticker money level. Now I have to have Adam or Jordan register for me. Probably the only two guys I'd give my banking account info to. Earl Skakel, over and out. Watch all my new shorts. I had to take down my 45-minute set from the Comedy Store, but it actually worked out because I had my friend Bruce Gray chop them up into clips, which is probably better overall. And on my Patreon, I put up a recent 21-minute set from the Comedy Store. So I'm not trying to make money off you guys. I'm just saying I think I'm going to put any long set I have at the stand-up at the Comedy Store will go on Patreon just so I can't get into trouble. Oh, Jordan's the best. William's the best. Dave, Pam, Sean. Well, I'm kind of leaning away from plugging my Patreon. I'd rather people save their money for the streams and the super chats, just because I think that's but I think my Patreon is reasonable. It's a $5 and $20 level. And like I said, I'm gonna start putting up a lot of my stand-up from the Comedy Store on there. And hopefully you guys dig it. And I'm not sure when I'm gonna stream again. Definitely be this week. I know Sunday nights is my go-to night. And thank you guys, man. I won't forget the support, and I actually mean that.